Carers Count is a one-stop shop for adult carers of carers within the Kirklees area. The service offers information and advice, advocacy support, groups, training, befriending, volunteering, carer breaks and emotional support for carers. Often people ask themselves, what is a carer? Some people think that a care worker is a carer, but actually the definition of a carer is an adult who provides support for another adult in need of care. In order to access Carers Count, the criteria is that you are a carer of an adult and your caring role may vary. Some carers cared for a loved one that lives in the same property. Other people provide support for other family members that live elsewhere, neighbours. We don't discriminate as to the level of care that you provide for the cared for. It can be full-time care or it can be part-time care, and this can include support with personal care. It could include support with medication, shopping, or even providing emotional support for the cared for.
Bottoms to the back of the seat as far as it will go, spine upright. Tongue at the back of your front teeth.
I first found Carers Count about 2 years ago. At that point I was a very low ebb, feeling that I was forgotten in all this. When I came to Carers Count, somebody cared for me. I used to meet, I still do, meet friends, family, acquaintances, and the first thing they say is, how's your mum and dad? And that's lovely, except nobody, until I came to Carers Count, said, how are you, Joan? How are you coping? Can we help? And meeting Julie, it made me feel so much better. I still have the same problems. Perhaps they're even worse now, but having somebody to talk to and coming to Carers Count and also doing the meditation helps. When you've got yourself into a bit of a situation, you can go home and sit just for 20 minutes and calm down.
I joined the inspirational writing group at Carers Count about 4 months ago. I've been writing poetry for about 15 years and I've been a carer for a lot longer. I haven't been willing to share my writings until recently, but this poem that I wrote quite a while ago was when I was in the depths of despair and I was suicidal, and it goes as: behind this face, behind this smile, this person who is me. My feelings I don't want to show for all the world to see. The hurt, the anguish and the pain go somewhere that's unknown. And only me, my heart, my soul, it's me, myself alone. I am in pain, the agony, the world it does not see. But deep inside, this agony is happening to me. This face, this smile hides everything, and only I can feel. Yes, you people out there, this pain is happening to me.
At Carers Count, we have the information and advice part of the service. We have 4 information and advice workers, one of whom is a specialist benefits advisor. The idea behind the information and advice workers is that carers can ask a series of questions, anything that they want really. The kind of referrals that we get can be anything from just a general signposting inquiry, finding out about groups that are local in the area, finding out about other forms of support for you as a carer, but also the person that you care for. They can go right up the other end of the spectrum and be really quite complex and complicated cases. And it might be that somebody needs a complex benefit assessment, finding out just exactly what they're entitled to and the person that they care for. It might be that you need help appealing the benefits that you've been given or not awarded, and also help at a tribunal. That's something also that the advice workers can help with. We can see you in your own home, in the office, and advice can be given over the telephone.
Situation as it is, and then I can say, well, okay, I'm going to chase that up with you then.
I'm with you. Yes,
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It does.
I work with carers who maybe feel as if they're not being listened to or heard by all the different agencies that they're involved with. We find that when someone is a carer for someone, they're often involved with loads of different agencies. It might be medical, social services, different care agencies, and it can be quite overwhelming and intimidating for people. And if they feel that their voice is getting a bit lost and nobody's actually listening to what they're saying and what would help them and what they'd like to happen, then an advocate can help them to make sure they have their voice heard. We'll make sure that people have access to all the information that they need to help them to make an informed decision about things to do with their lives and the person they're caring for's lives. We're not about giving advice or telling people what to do, because we often find that people are fed up of the amount of professionals in their lives who think they know what's best for them. We believe that the carer knows what's best for them, and so we help them to voice that and have the voice heard. We'll often support people at meetings. We'll go with them at lots of different sorts of meetings. And if they want us to, we can speak on their behalf. But we often find that just knowing that they have someone in their corner who's prepared to do battle with them to get what they want is enough for them to have the confidence to speak up for themselves. So we can often help people negotiate their way through what can be an incredibly complicated system as well, and hopefully make the journey and the caring easier for them.
I joined the bereavement group last year under the kind help of Polly and Julie. Getting over the sad loss of my late wife. She passed away 2 years before, but I didn't know about the bereavement group. So I had worked my way through and was getting largely recovered from the grief which I experienced. And then in the library I saw a sign up for the Carers Count bereavement group at Rosewood Centre.
Carers Count offer a bereavement service. We originally started at the Rosewood Centre at Dewsbury with a 6-week workshop. This was so successful we then carried on to do a bereavement support group. We run this at the Rosewood Centre and also here in Huddersfield. This is where people who have suffered a loss of a family member, a wife, a child, a partner can come together, and this is where we look at all aspects of the grieving process. We can talk to each other, we can help each other, we support each other. Sometimes that's all that's needed, just a listening ear, so that you know you're not alone.
A bit tearful, but we've all been there.
Yeah, we have all been there, and sometimes it's important to let it all out, isn't
Absolutely.
it? You spend so much time being in control and trying to...
As a carer, sometimes you forget about yourself because you're so busy taking on the role of caring for somebody who's very, very vulnerable. My encouragement would be to anybody who's caring for someone that it's very important to take care of yourself, because if you're not taking care of yourself and you falter, the person you care for will suffer as well. We as carers from a BME background face even more barriers than normal people would in regards to caring for somebody, because support isn't encouraged for us. I would encourage anybody to get access to as much support as possible, because the more support you get as a carer, the better carer you will be for the person you care for.
So the Time For Me project is based at Carers Count. It's a new project, and myself and my colleague Debbie, we're recruiting volunteers, and we're going to match the volunteers up to a family or to a carer. The volunteer will spend time with the cared for person, and which will mean that the carer can go out and have some time to themselves, maybe going out for a cup of tea, going to a class, going to the doctors. The most important thing being that they get a break whilst the cared for person is at home or doing another activity with the volunteer.
We encourage involvement from carers in our service, and this goes right back to before the service was formed. We consulted with carers to find out what they wanted from the new service, and along the way we consult with carers at a regular basis to try and find out, are they happy with the service, what would they like to see different, what new they'd like to introduce the service, and this may include new training courses, setting up different groups, but at all times we do consult with carers. We have a carers support and advisory group, and we are actively looking for new carers to be involved in our advisory group or just generally be involved in the service at any level. We appreciate that carers' time is very precious, so we're very grateful for any support that we can get and any input from carers to help to steer our service forward, because at the end of the day we are a service for carers, run by carers, and basically carers are the centre of the service, so their views and input is paramount.